Well, this is Cabin Conversations, a regular podcast at Woodlands Church. I'm Dave, here with co-host Whitney Swenson. Hey, Whitney.
You think I know how to work this?
Well, yeah, we've been doing it for a while. So
just kind of punks every now and then. It's all right.
This is year 3 with these arms, right?
I have no idea.
Something like that. But, I mean, year 1, we just used like the regular microphones.
Sure.
And we had to set it up ourselves every week. We had to come in and like run wires and microphone stands and things.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we were unwinding things and pulling it out of cabinets. And
Then they built this huge facility out. If you go in the woods behind the church, there's a bunker.
It's the recording studio. And there's a giant light that says recording for Cabin Conversations.
Which is, none of this is true.
We bring teens up here to film like videos with like senior shout outs that they're going to have seen this Sunday.
Cool.
And whenever I bring teens up here, I was like, where are we going? And what is this place? And they come in like, whoa.
And then they're like, oh, this is where Dave and Whitney record, right?
No, I don't. They don't ever take it back to a specific thing.
Yeah.
I know.
I think there's just a mythology of behind the stage that's cool.
Yeah.
People.
Our guest this week is Justin Armstrong. Justin, how long have you been on? You've been on staff for 6 years now. I know that because
like 5.5. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going on sabbatical this summer, which is awesome. Which means that you've been a guest in all 5 seasons of Cabin Conversations.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Probably true.
So you are a legacy guest.
Wow.
Who else would hold that title? Probably Keely.
Yep.
I mean, Doug.
Definitely Doug.
Yeah.
So I'm just we're counting down. This is episode 4 till the end of the season.
Yeah.
And of course, if you've been with us for the past couple of weeks or, here on Sunday, this is the final season.
Till the end of this era. Yeah.
Yeah, of Cabin Conversations.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean this is the final season of podcasting here at Woodlands Church or encouragement. Certainly.
I like that you're acknowledging that
encouragement
it's the final season. Like I hate TV shows that get canceled.
Oh, sure.
I much prefer one that says like, we're a limited series and we are done. And so you have your limited series now. And
Is 5 more than you expected us to get to?
Oh, for sure.
Is it about 4 more years than 4.5 more years than you expected us to get to?
We started with Matt Wilhelm.
Yep.
And that, I mean, I love that man, but like I was like, we're not going to get this thing off the ground.
Yeah.
You would just talk circles around it and like slowly get to the thing. But it was like, wow, we've got 35 minutes, bud.
A lot of editing? Or did you just like...
No, we just let it roll.
We have never edited an episode of Cabin Conversations. Everything you hear. Yeah. So that's why the awkward, quiet pauses. Yeah. We get those in there. So
I appreciate that.
And like standing up to turn off the water heater, or there is no like recording sign outside the door.
Nope.
So
people don't know.
Like Art will just be working. It's Tuesday. So Art's wherever Art is making magic happen.
Yeah.
There has been talk about putting recording signs out there. And maybe we were going to get the Cabin Conversations logo on the wall here if you're a YouTube. So now that someone can check that off their to-do list.
The texture looks like the texture of the moon, but I'm probably not the first one to say or think that.
Huh. I think it's supposed to look like
concrete.
Cement.
Yeah.
Concrete.
That too, but
it's not.
I'm getting like a moon landing feel.
Sure. Yeah.
Is this where they filmed it?
I was going to say, are you a denier? Yeah. So we'll get some legacy guests over the next few weeks.
Now we need to edit.
And the week of May 10th,
next week. So
the week of May 17th.
Yep.
Yeah. Right before Memorial Day. So we will not be on post Memorial Day.
Right.
So we'll get 2 churches. We'll get into 3 churches. No, we'll get all. Yeah.
We have one more prologue.
Oh, right? Yes, you're right. So, and then Ephesus and Smyrna.
Yep.
So, so we'll get both of those, and then you're on your own congregation.
They go have their own cabin conversation.
Yes.
Well, and that has always been the heartbeat.
Yeah.
Here's something I was thinking about for the first time, and this is dumb that I'm thinking about this for the first time. I was just thinking about this 10 minutes ago. We always pray before an episode, and yet at the same time, we're trying to model what casual conversations are like. But I very rarely pray before a casual conversation. And I think that intentionality, like the intention, we have microphones in our faces too and stuff like that. So there's a different intentionality. We can't just replicate like a hallway conversation. But wouldn't it be nice as a church if we just made it a habit of praying regularly before we talk with people?
Yeah, when you're walking up to somebody. But also like as you're walking out of conversations, is that not food for prayer fodder? Like
certainly. Yeah, should be.
Yeah.
But our prayers are often that we would be encouraged by the words that God would guard our mouths as we're talking and things like that. And there's a greater weight that's being recorded and broadcast. But I don't remember the last time when I was just like sitting down with a friend. I was like, hey, before we talk, could we pray?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I feel like that's one of the benefits of meeting over meals is then that becomes more common. So I'm like, I often meet people over meals. So we do.
When you pray for, we've talked about this before on this, I think, but when you pray for food, do you pray for the meal? Do you use the phrase, bless this food?
Sometimes I go back and forth. Sometimes depending on what I'm thinking, I'll be focused on, like recently I've been thinking a lot about how so many times when God gives the Israelites something to celebrate, it's around food. And so he has these like, I want you to remember this thing. So have a meal or festival around it.
Yeah. Feast.
I think there's been times where I've really been reflecting on the openness of the table now and what we're allowed to eat and how the things are blessed, different. Like if I'm eating pork, like there's a whole history and a weight behind what that means. And so my ability to do that. So then sometimes I'm like, oh, what happens when a Christian doesn't bless pork? I don't know. I'm sure people have written tons of stuff about it and it's not worth reading. But then sometimes like I think it's just a good reminder. I think the rhythms of life that, like we were talking about this before about Creasters, about how there are people who'd only come to church for Christmas and Easter. And then I think as people became more aware of that, we began to name them and then shame them. And then it became a like, oh, don't be them. And recently, even like this last year, like we should have been celebrating that it was a cultural expectation or even like thing that you would go to church. Like, why would we want that to end? Why would we want somebody who only comes twice a year to be like, yeah, you're right, I just shouldn't come here. Like I get most people were like, no, come every week. Yeah. But usually shame goes the other way. Yeah. So I would say, so it depends kind of on just what I'm mulling about on and how my prayers are in food. But
it's usually that the conversation would be edifying amongst who's there and glorifying to God is usually how it's.
That's what your prayers are. Yeah.
Or in like, thank you for the food that's in front of us. Like, let it nourish us. Not just in body, but in spirit.
Yeah, I think a gratitude for the food. I think that prayer for me has really become a marker of gratitude. And I'm often praying, especially if it's around my dinner table with my kids, like, Lord, help us be grateful for the things that we have. And it's kind of like mini sermons wrapped in prayers, It's like, nudge, nudge, kids.
I didn't see you enough this week. So,
because the whole bless this food, I think is definitely largely medieval tradition. Coming out, I think it's in the same vein of like bless you when someone sneezes, because it's a release of demonic presence in the medieval mindset. So there's like any spirituality or things around this food may be done away with.
I was thinking, I was working with one of our interns, Ben, and he was teaching for Crossview, and he was teaching in Matthew 6, don't worry. And as we were talking, and Jesus is in the middle of the Sermon on the Mount, and he says, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you'll eat or drink, or about your body, what you'll wear. And as him and I were talking about anxiety and worry, as we were in the conversation, I pointed out to him, and I had just realized that as we were looking at it, isn't it strange that the main worries of these ancient people, what you'll eat, what you'll drink, and what you'll wear, are not the concerns of almost every single American, and yet anxiety has only increased. Yeah. And like, it's as if we get the things that we're anxious about, it doesn't actually cure, like that's maybe not the root of our anxiety. Wow. Yeah. And so thinking of like thankfulness for food, of how I just take for granted that we have gotten to a place, I think because of Jesus's impact on the world and the values the world now has because of Jesus, we've gotten to a place where like, I don't ever worry about food. I mean, I worry about food in a very shallow sense of like, I hope I like the meal, or oops, I forgot my lunch. But like, that's such a silly thing to worry about compared to these people. So.
Ben and I got to spend some time talking about how anxious he was about his talk on anxiety.
Which is wonderful.
Which was funny. So in terms of that processing, which is good. Yeah. So I think as much as anything, just the regular rhythm of prayer, that's what meals has felt like for me too. Yeah.
So Spencer, you listen to this. When we get coffee in a couple weeks, which we're planning, let's pray before we talk.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. Yeah. So
do you have anybody that you just walk and pray with? Like it's not necessarily a conversation between the two of you, but it's a conversation amongst you with the Lord?
No, I don't.
Me neither.
Have you ever?
I don't know how I'd be able to do that.
Yeah.
It just tells you a lot more about me than anything else.
Well, it's just not a practice, maybe that you've practiced or things like that. Do you, Whitney? Yeah.
Callie and I used to in the mornings.
Outside, kind of at your property,
Yeah.
your house, because your
Walking
houses
the
are like
dogs.
next. Yeah.
And then there's like guaranteed to be some kind of distraction of like dogs flying the wrong way or like whatever. So it's not. It sounds way more like intense than it is. It's just like talking to God with a friend.
Yeah.
About whatever's coming up.
Which be really close to the person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we tried it. So
Culturally, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like in a
weird.
beautiful way.
Yeah. Right. And then it got even like that point got put onto it for our London team in preparation to going to London. It was like, we're going to be walking, 5 miles a day, maybe. So like get your body ready for that kind of physicality on concrete. So we met, I think once, maybe twice at Pakwa as whoever could make it and just walked around Pakwa. Like the first walk around was just in silence, praying by yourself. And then the next one was together. We're going to pray out loud, pop around. And then I don't remember what the third one was, but it was like people were kind of like, what's going on with these people? Don't close your eyes when you pray and walk. That's not suggested. But then it was when we got to London and we stopped and prayed in these like very public places for very public landscapes. We were maybe a little less uncomfortable. I don't know. It wasn't a comfort thing.
That's going to be a practice when we get to multiplication. When we have a site, there will be lots of prayer opportunities, like walk and pray in these neighborhoods, in these areas. Going back to Godspeed, because we've been talking about that for the last whatever. But that's their pilgrimage motion too. They have a 40-day pilgrimage of walking in a 15-minute set route in your neighborhood and praying over that thing for 40 days, which is just really rich. So but not necessarily with others. So
I find prayer hard in general out loud, which I know is a very like modern thing, because it feels so performative.
Yeah,
and it's just hard to not. I'm probably very much not alone in that. Of like, how to like it never feels like, and it's not. And maybe they shouldn't, but it never feels like my prayers out loud are like my prayers not out loud.
Sure.
Do you pray out loud in private?
No.
I found that to be one of the most enriching.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Just because otherwise I'm like praying quietly and then like I catch myself and I'm thinking about what I had for dinner last week. I'm like, Lord, I'm so sorry. I think I've said this before, but I feel like I sat down at the coffee table, started talking to the Lord and just like got up and wandered away like while he was talking or I was talking. And it just feels so, I don't know. Whatever.
I think that's why praying with Callie has removed some of the performative nature from it, because it's just like talking and walking with a friend in the presence of God, talking to him about some things, but then being like, wait, did you know that? Do I need to tell you more? Like it just was more of a conversation, which is kind of fun.
Like between the three of you almost, which is fun.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. But a very close friend that knows the depths of my heart. So there's no awkwardness there. Or if it is, we have worked through it, a lot of it. So. Or we know how to work through it.
Going back to meals, I was going to mention, we're not talking anything about what we're supposed to be talking about right now, but my family we've developed a little bit of liturgy around meals. About half the time we start for dinner, half the time I'll just pray or someone else will pray, but the other time it's really brief. I say, we're gathered here together to eat and laugh and share, and then everyone says, Lord, be here with us. We want to serve and love one another well. God, remind us who you are. And I say, we're thankful for this food, and I'm thankful for, and I share one thing I'm grateful for, and we just go around the table, and all the kids and people share.
Great.
And we say, so let's eat together. Amen. And it's just super simple, but it's been a pattern that our family has developed a little bit, and it's rich. I like the sharing of gratitude around the table in the presence of the Lord too. So that's, hopefully it's not just like, a throwaway thing. But
my friend Kale does a Sabbath meal. I think he's a pastor, and so he does it Friday nights, I think it is, in a Saturday. And they do forgiveness as they go around of like, is there something that like you would like to apologize? And so like, and he leads it as the dad. He says like, I'm going to go around, just apologize to all of you for the ways that I like messed up this week and want to do better. And so like, he's seen his kids, like I think 8 and 6 are the age of the kids. He's seen them like apologize to each other at that time and meal. And
that's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
What a way to say we're going to start Sabbath with, essentially clean slates or
Yep.
to whatever extent. Like
And just
that.
to like have that like, I feel like oftentimes forgiveness or animosity just grows in the time and the distance and the imagined frustration and different things. So to cut that short weekly is so cool.
And just to teach yourself and your family, whoever's sitting around the table, that the beauty of the gospel is we don't have to hide these things. Like we can ask for forgiveness. We're not hiders. We're people that bring it out to the light, receive forgiveness, and move forward in power.
And to lead that as a parent.
Oh man.
Like how incredible that is for a kid to hear their parent regularly. Like again, I think you talk a lot rhythm.
Yeah.
Doing something once is like, that's really cool. But to have it as a rhythm in your home or in your life does something so different. So I can't imagine.
And one of the values of rhythm is you get to a place where you're like, oh shoot, I need to apologize when I'm going to do that. And you're like, oh, Friday. Like I know. There is when you have that set spot. That's my wife and I have a regular meeting, and sometimes it's like, when are we going to bring this up and talk about it? Oh, I know, Sunday. In the afternoon. So that's really, really valuable.
When did you start that liturgy? And what advice would you give to someone like me whose kids are 6 and 3 and who we hardly ever sit down at the same time because we have 3 different meals?
Yeah. I thought that prayers were feeling perfunctory before meal. And it was very like, there wasn't really any, it's just like, God, thank you for the food, that sort of thing, kind of throwaway almost. And I was just like, what do I want to really distill? Like, what do I want us to reflect on? And the whole, like, we want to serve and love one another well. God, remind us who you are. Like, those two things are just hand in hand together, like, as we reflect on who God is. And it is that notion that I want my kids to have things running through their minds. And transparently, I've done a terrible job helping my kids memorize scripture. And so I'm going to have them memorize my words. It's just such a,
as you were saying it, you were like processing it.
It's like, shoot. But that's an area, that's a growth edge for us. But it was that. And like the first couple times we did it, they were like, this is dumb, Dad. I was like, okay, that's fine. We're still going to do it. And they caught on pretty well. So,
but I want to stop for a second. Like, I don't want to draw a clean Christian, non-Christian line between memorizing the Bible and because I think anybody who sat and thought through the effect of their parents can go back and go, oh, I can tell you the 5 things my parents always said. And usually those are not 5 great things. Normally those are 5 things of like, this is how they responded, this is what they're going to say, and I hated it, or it was harmful or whatever. So I think to intentionally say, based off of prayer, like again, your motivation was, we're praying for a meal, but it doesn't mean a lot. And I want it to mean something. So what I want for my kids, that's not you saying, I'm Dave, I have this brilliant idea, I want my kids to know it. And I know you're just joking, but I think for a parent to hear that of like, because I think sometimes you think like, oh, then I better like find the verse that's going to explain it. And I think there's something powerful about saying, how do I take the passages and the ways that I know God, put that into language that makes sense to me and my family, and help them understand it. I think that's permissible. I think it makes sense. It's not you're not doing something wrong.
It's formation. Like it's healthy spiritual formation.
You're going to have phrases that they remember, might as well have them be intentional. And
I should start having the other kids lead it. That's something I should kind of change in. So I've always been the one to lead it. I wonder if they could recite all the pieces. I wouldn't be surprised if they could.
What would Eden do if she could shift it up a little bit? Like, what would you want to say to start a meal?
Ooh, that's a cool question.
Like, as you pray, as you reflect, and you think about what you'd like our family to be, how would you? What if she had a month where it was like, Eden's actually gonna lead this with
Yeah, that's a fun question.
Or you have enough kids, each one could take a night.
Forever. So, like you get Mondays.
I just read Axis is a resource that is a pretty good resource. I think Next Gen pointed it out to us, and there was just an article about parental influence and how like as your kids get older and teenagers, it feels like there's less and less influence. You're not the voice that they're going to anymore. But they likened the formation of your kids and parental influence to the like forming of rocks in a river, and how there's just like there's this constant flow of what you're doing. So even to reframe what you did with Dave right there is just beautiful. Of like what you're doing is forming this beautiful thing around the table, whether or not it's like it might be dumb one night and you might change it up or whatever, but to make the table a space of, hey, let's gather together in community around sustenance and remember who God is
Yeah.
and have him form and shape us here.
And that was
So cool.
why my tangent on Christmas and Easter. I was like, I ended that tangent, and then I was like, why was I bringing this up?
I wondered that too.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I never connected it. Was because
I thought I got lost. So go ahead.
no, because with Christmas and Easter, there are these rituals that like bring people back.
Yeah.
And so I think we have far more common ones like praying for a meal or things. And instead of being like looking at the culture and saying, oh, it's stupid, they don't, and this is a caricature, but of like they don't really follow Jesus, or they say bless you, but they don't really mean bless you or whatever. Instead of like taking those things and going, cool, there's this thing already in our culture that like has this essence or this maybe like history of influence from God and Christianity. Why not leverage that?
Yeah.
Redeem it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So,
Yeah. Oh, am I supposed to have a question?
yeah, do you have a question here?
I do.
So,
Here's the thing I was thinking about is like things are winding down as far as the ministry year. And so even our resources, our sermon resources, we're not doing every week resources for this series.
because groups are going to wind it down during the series.
Yeah. So what we offered, I keep saying series and then Siri thinks I'm talking.
Oh, yeah. So,
She's like, there's other of me?
quiet
So
down,
we're going to have the
Siri.
same opener questions. Would you rather hike in the mountains or lay on the beach?
Oh, mountains.
Yeah, mountains.
Go camping or stay at a hotel with a water park? You're changing your mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Like a beach is pretty nice too.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel so uncomfortable on beaches. Like sun and being...
I've learned to be more comfortable. I think it's a learned thing. Some people it's very natural for them, but I've learned to be comfortable. So I don't know. Oh, what was the next one?
Go camping or stay at a hotel with a water park?
With my kids or by myself or with my wife?
That's a really good question.
Had the kids.
As a family.
Okay.
Which
Water
one?
park. Or maybe camping.
Depends. I mean, it's the obvious question.
I feel like you have had really bad camping experiences.
Yeah.
Okay.
We go to the water park all the time, but my kids are little, and it's because it's cold all the time. So I'm like, well, it depends on the climate.
Yeah.
I prefer to be camping.
Sure.
I've had bad water park experiences too. So like,
You've just
by
been on
yourself.
family trips. That's what's really happening.
yeah, that's the problem.
So it's either when if it's just you.
Yeah, it's a wash. So
Okay. Grilled burgers or roast a hot dog?
Burgers.
it's open fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a hot dog. Then I'll be frank.
Make s'mores or eat watermelon.
S'mores.
Porque no las dos. That's hard.
You could, one and then the next.
Yeah, I love both of those so much.
Watermelon's a waste of my time.
Oh, I can eat an
my
entire
goodness.
plate of
Yeah.
watermelon.
I
But s'mores
don't-
are like my favorite.
Have you ever salted watermelon?
I don't mind it, but my
Oh,
kids love it, and so
Yeah.
I avoid it because
Oh.
I know that I will not derive as much enjoyment as they will, so I leave it for them.
Or you
like-
share in their enjoyment.
I don't have. It's like 10% of their enjoyment. Like it's so minuscule compared. And like, what is this? This is a messy
Just get
food.
a bigger watermelon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just.
Okay.
Yeah.
The better question, maybe more intimate question is, what season is your soul in currently?
What season is your soul in?
Like using
currently?
the 4 seasons.
Sure.
Not like season 1 through 12.
Right. Season 1 through 5.
I think both of them are interesting.
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting questions, but
Mhm.
ooh, that is a. Wow.
Maybe one to discuss with somebody else.
Yeah.
In the private.
I can
here.
give kind of an answer to this. It's I would say I'm hopefully, and this is maybe pretty honest and open, but like the end of the winter. When you're like, oh wow, it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I think spring is pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's, you think about seasons, and I think a lot about growth in relation between the 4 in terms of soul health and stuff like that. And I think so many staff transitions around here and changes. So you leaving Whitney and David Hansen in particular retiring, and Colton and Aaron coming on, and just there's like what gifts and what blessings. Every single staff person is such a blessing, but transitions are always, change is hard, right? And as Don Smith often says, all change is loss. And so there is just that, I know a spring is coming.
Yeah.
And And I also don't want to say like my whole soul is wrapped up with my work and my life in this church, but it's the people I live alongside, and that affects a lot of different pieces. So you probably have to take different parts of your soul.
Yeah.
And I definitely took my
work soul,
church soul. Yeah, I don't want to say necessarily work soul, but church soul. So have different answers at different parts, but.
I'm just going to be me, which
I'm
going to say that I reject your Platonic question.
Okay. Thanks.
That my soul is not my entire being.
Yeah.
How dare you dichotomize me?
Ephemeral, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think similar to Dave, I probably resonate really strongly with the one caveat first. The nice thing about the seasons is that they're a rhythm that we can predict. And even though Wisconsin is unpredictable, like every state, we can predict them, and life doesn't work that way.
Right.
And so it's very hard because the rhythm of the season is what gives it its cadence. You know that after winter comes spring, and life doesn't work that way. Like sometimes you go from winter into it. You can go from a fall to a summer. Like it just doesn't work that way. And so I think given that, even as I reflect on that, I think this past spring is pretty representative of the way I feel.
Sure.
Where we have these like, oh, it's 70 and my soul is great.
And then it's summer.
Like, and then there's a winter storm and then an ice storm and then a thunderstorm, or floods.
Tornadoes.
And so it's like all over the place. And so I think I just, I think there's a lot to process, to feel right now. I feel tired. And that's why I, like, even it was a joke of the Platonic idea, I think I feel a tiredness in my body recently that like cues me into what's going on.
What a gift for a time of sabbatical then.
Yeah.
As you get, when is your sabbatical?
But I don't feel exhausted. 3 weeks.
It's in 3 weeks.
Yep.
So like mid-May.
It's like 22nd,
through
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, 24th?
Yep.
Okay.
We're going to leave at the same time.
Yeah.
You'll come back.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, you will too.
I'll come back just into my office.
Yeah.
So until the end of July for you. Okay.
I'll come back right before VBS.
Okay.
Yes. Like the week before VBS, or is your first week back VBS?
No, week before.
Okay. Do you have responsibilities at VBS?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like easy, I'll probably be doing Stevie's job because he's on sabbatical too, and filming and editing.
Oh, good. Okay. So you don't there's nothing that's going to like make you think about it heading up to it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I think one thing that the staff team, and David's led in it and Colton will lead in it too, has just done really well, has been like cutting people off during sabbatical and like forcing them to be sabbaticaling to an extent. There have been times that some pretty major things have not been shared with people on sabbatical in an attempt to guard that space, because it's not just like what a gift. It's viewed as this is a need. And I that's probably maybe a little of what you're feeling. So and there's lots of places that would say, okay, push through and get over it.
To the extent that I came back the week of VBS, I had my sabbatical was 2 summers ago now, I think. And I came back the week of VBS, but my computer had not plugged it in for the 2 months. So it was dead. And there was major registration issues the first day of VBS. And I'm walking in with like all the people. And I was like, I literally can't do anything on my computer because it's dead. So I'll stand and talk to each one of you as you're coming in and just try to like ease the tension of the registration's not working and there's a bunch of people running around trying to figure it out, but there's a line of people growing. Like, I'll just talk to the line. I'll just talk to the line. I'm useless here except for talking to people. So that's great.
Useless at all.
It wasn't useless. It was great.
What about your soul? What season is your soul in, Whitney?
I was thinking of like the actual, the fight right now for spring to arrive feels similar. That there's like, it is jumbled right now. I feel like even though we're going into this season of summer in Wisconsin, I feel like this summer is going to be one of rest and just like really unplugging. And so
it's a super sabbatical for you.
Yeah, I think maybe more winter is coming. I don't know. We'll see. I might be reverting from doing seasons backwards, but yeah, there's a lot of grief and loss all change is loss apparently to Don Smith, but I resonate with that.
It's not just loss, but all change has loss.
Has loss.
You know, yeah.
There's a lot of exciting things too, but I think I'm not sure I have done the work of grieving what's being lost yet. And that will come. No, that's okay. I'm like, that needs to happen too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I'll also celebrate the ability to read a bazillion books all day long.
Oh,
I can't wait.
yeah. Do you have a book list that just expanding?
It's insane.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to stop. I told my husband I was not going to buy any books in 26, and that is not true. They're just piling up.
So you actually have the books. It's not like you're.
Oh, there's a list too,
TBR
but there's
list.
physical.
Yeah.
There's physical books lining up, and there's like from Genesis to Junia is one that I will read this summer. Can't wait to dive in.
So you have lots of books to read.
And that's not hard. Like one thing I've been.
God's Homecoming is also on the stack of things that I want to read. So
I still have like the last chapter I have to read on that one. I'm like, why did I saw it in my bag the other day. I'm like, why did I need to finish that chapter. Yeah.
Do you have a list? Like, what plans do you have for sabbatical, or what are your hopes for sabbatical? Maybe a better question.
I don't know. I mean, I've listened a lot to Dave because Melissa and I just keep talking about it. And you had said you had a sabbatical where you did a lot and it was exhausting. And then you had a sabbatical where you didn't do anything and it was life-giving.
Both of them were really good, but just in different ways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we did a trip to like test out trips with our kids at the age they're at, and it was pretty exhausting.
Yeah.
So I think our plan is just to like live life for Melissa and I to give each other just days to go and rest and be alone.
Are you going to do something together, you and Melissa?
I think so. That always, as you both know, depends on childcare.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So it depends on, we'll get away as much as the people who will watch our kids will give us the opportunity to get away.
Yeah.
So hopefully. But even like some stuff, like my dad had reached out and we're going to get a canoe, or we have a inflatable boat that we use. And I'm going to take my two boys, my dad and I, and go fishing. And so it gives Melissa rest at the same time. We get to go do something fun with my dad and my kids. And so just those kind of things.
Do you have a canoe?
Well, we have like an inflatable boat with like a pretty hard, it's a big, it's not like an inflatable boat, like a little inner tube. It's like a pretty, I don't know, it has oars that are like anchored in inflatable boat. So I trust it. We've been on
I was just going to say, because the very generous listenership of Cabin Conversations, I'm sure,
or
represents at least
Whitney
one.
Has like I have access to canoes,
the hard part is we only have
kayaks, to those things. So.
We just throw it in the back. The nice thing is, since it's inflatable and we have like a pump for electric pump, we just throw it in the back of the van.
And it works.
You can pump it up right there.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's convenient.
We're also really close to the chain. So if you just want to be like, hey, Whit, will you throw a couple kayaks in the truck and meet me at the chain?
But that's what's even the weird part is, I mean, and I guess you'd be different,
Mm-hmm.
but I think one of the, I was even talking to Stevie, the interesting thing about sabbatical and even just, I think being in ministry in general is our work is people.
Yes.
And it feels so bad to be like, I'm not going to talk to you because you're my job. Which just sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners.
Yeah.
But like,
there's a reality to that.
Well,
of like just trimming it down.
And you can't I can't walk into church and not work.
Yeah.
You know, work, quote unquote. Like it's so weird because at the same time, and I say this so humbly, like the work I'm doing is so similar to what the volunteers do, you know?
Yep.
And so,
so it's such a gift that we get. Like, I'm not trying to complain about it. It's just like a weird thing to sort through. Of like, what does that mean when you don't connect with people you normally would? Because there sometimes is a burden to do something about it.
Are you guys going to go to CrossView? Do you know?
I don't know. We've talked a bit about it, but we haven't decided what we're going to do.
Yeah. This last time, I think I've said this before, but this last time we developed a really beautiful rhythm of doing church as a family that we've maintained in a lot of ways on Saturdays. And it was just sweet. So there's just different ways to, process it. Some people love going to different churches. I have zero desire to go to a different church on a Sunday morning. Like, I'm like, that's not my church.
Yeah.
And they're not my people. And I'm not just going for content. I'm going to be part of something.
I have many ways to get content.
Watch YouTube. Watch a podcast.
Yeah.
So, or listen to a podcast. I guess you can watch this podcast. So
yeah.
So
there's 4 of them watching right now.
So.
Not even right now. But
yeah.
So
that's exciting. This is your first sabbatical on the staff?
Ever. But
Ever. Okay.
I did 4 years in Denver.
Okay.
And then came here.
It's a gift that our church offers.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All the listeners are the one that give me this gift.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is. It's the congregation that values. And so we would do a disservice to get through an entire podcast, which we almost have, without mentioning that we're in Revelation now.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
And the first 8 verses are not without their own punch.
Wow.
And so this next 12 that we'll cover on Sunday are the same way. But anything stand out to you guys in particular from Sunday's sermon, or any notes that you have or anything like that from these verses? Remember how we don't edit this.
I admittedly was not here on Sunday, so I watched it. I was at my mother and father-in-law's in River Falls.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's just, I mean, I feel like one with Revelation, there's just so much. I mean, we've even talked, like, it's just such a complicated, strange book, which is also really fun. I think the part I was sitting and thinking a lot about was verse 7, look, he is coming with the clouds. And I was just talking to somebody, I was at lunch with somebody today and talking about how even as a kid, when I heard about like Jesus ascending into the clouds, it just sounded fake. Like, I don't know, just as a kid, I was like, this just sounds like a fairy tale. I can't imagine it in my head. And so it has a ring of unreality to it.
Yeah.
And I was a strange kid, so maybe most people don't think that way. But I think as I started to see the trend in the Bible of the cloud being God's presence coming, and so you start to trace back, oh yeah, like when the temple gets filled and when like there's more than, it's not just, oh, there happens to be clouds that day. And again, like the transfiguration, when the clouds come and then God speaks, it's not like it got cloudy or the clouds came so you couldn't see God. It's like, that's the physical way that God represents that his presence is coming over and over again. And so then just seeing that, like, look, he's coming with the clouds, kind of like, that doesn't just mean he's riding in the sky. It's not just a location that they're trying to cue us into.
Yeah.
It's this like this figure, going back to Daniel and talking about Jesus, is coming with the presence of God to do something. And when God's presence comes, it is incredible. Like every time you see it show up, people are terrified and wonderful things happen and all this stuff. So I was just sitting thinking about that and how cool it is.
John and I were processing earlier today in the next passage, and even in the rest, he was like, do you think the location of the cities matter? You know, because there's a lot of churches that aren't mentioned. You know, the church in Jerusalem, you'd think to the church in Antioch.
They all dodged the bullet. They were
like, why these 7 churches? And I think some people have said when you map it, it makes a bit of a circle. And is that representative of anything? And is that, and I think that there's a lot in Revelation that you can say, isn't it interesting that? Does it mean something that? And then there's a lot in Revelation that you say, this is like, notice this. And I think holding those things in different hands is really important. Like, don't get caught up in the isn't it interesting that, but don't miss the this is clear that. And I think the clouds reference is definitely there's just this literature is so rich. So rich, everything.
Particularly with Old Testament
Old
symbolism.
Testament,
So to trace those kinds of things back into the Old Testament and see how it's coming to fulfillment. It's like, this is the final statement of it. And it's being, John wrote it before the final statement's happening.
The final statement is the city coming down. They look, and I don't know, I can't find the last page. John was wrong. The last page is actually kind of hard to find because I have all these random notes.
Revelation is fairly easy-ish to find. Not as easy as Genesis. I do agree though. So I got Genesis. So John did make the statement. This phrase was great. Revelation is a history book for the future. I liked that phrase. Like that was like, oh, that's a nice phrase. I get that. But just also dripping with Old Testament. And so that is where like the clarity I think comes is if it's an Old Testament allusion or if it's an explicit connection that John not John Hooton, but John, the, one with the H, makes in his writing.
And I'm not saying I disagree with that statement. I think it's one of those things where it's fun to hear different people's concept of a book that's talking about something that hasn't happened. How do you conceptualize that? And you maybe have remembered me say this before, but I often think about prophecy or even like Revelation, less of a prediction and more of a God who is so powerful and faithful that he can tell you what he's going to do and he will make it happen. And so the example I often use to people is, like I was meeting with somebody today, like if I said, I'm going to meet you at Culver's at 11:30 and I walk in the door, you're not going to go, whoa, Justin can predict the future. Wow. You're going to be like, hey, Justin was on time and he did what he said he was going to do. And I think when God says like, hey, this is what I'm going to do, I often think of it, and I think the way the Bible like speaks about it is less of a like God sees the future and knows this is going to happen, and He's more like, this is my plan, and guess who stops my plan? Nobody. Guess who's powerful? Guess what's powerful enough to stop my plan? Nobody. Guess who's faithful enough to keep it? Me, every single time. So it is a history book of the future, and that's because I think it's rooted in a faithful, powerful God who will do what He said He's going to do.
That line right there is worth the price of admission for the last 35 minutes of listening to us.
Make it to the last 35, folks.
Yeah. So that was a fantastic observation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's fun to be on.
Not foretelling.
Thanks for having me on for the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have a final question for you. So I don't think we've asked.
I failed my last question so bad, so I'm.
You torpedoed the whole thing.
I know.
So no, it wasn't. It was the whole concept.
It was not
concept
just
was bad.
The concept was.
It wasn't Justin's fault. It was my fault.
Because of your.
I needed time.
But also, it's because like who you're co-hosting with. I am not a debater. I'm not going to debate here. I will debate in my head 3 hours later after I have some time to think about it.
So did you end up with a debate answer about the?
I don't. But I have to debate things that I care about. I don't care about that. Too much.
Yeah.
Like I can. I'm.
You also did give us a point that you had a decision on.
I know. Yeah, it was just all messed up.
Yeah. So anyway, since then we've come up with the probing question.
A worse question.
Oh goodness.
What's in your glove box in your car?
My car?
Yeah. Hey, you're the first guest in this who has little kids.
Oh.
So maybe we'll get some chaos.
Yeah.
In my car, I have no idea because I barely open it. In my van, there's a giant stack of CDs and DVDs.
Wow.
A lot of CDs.
DVDs? Do you have a
DVD player?
Nice.
DVD player.
But
Okay.
most of those are CDs.
Okay.
What kind of CDs can you say that you have on the air?
Oh, I mean, the one that I listen to all the time is 21 Pilots. I have. I need to get their newest one, Breach, but I love 21 Pilots.
But you listen to it on CD.
I'm a huge I think albums are incredibly meaningful.
I love it
because they have a flow and
but you can listen to an album on Spotify or YouTube Music or whatever.
Yeah, but
Like you'd say, play the album.
I don't know. I want a CD.
You want the physicality of it.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Okay, Justin, when you're running,
Yeah.
He's got a 45
Walkman?
skip,
No,
45
no,
second anti-skip.
No. When I run outside, I don't use anything.
Okay.
But if I'm in a gym, I need something to listen
Yes.
to
Oh
because
my
it's
gosh.
yeah. I just prefer not to run. But when I'm outside, I like being able to like hear and smell and like think.
But you said you had an album that you listened to all on your
That was
running.
one of the 20 Pilots one. I listened to repetitively. I moved on to their next album after that.
But while you're running, because you just said while you're running, you don't.
In the gym.
In the gym.
Yeah. If I'm outside, like now it's gotten nice enough out that I can run on the trail. And then in November, October, when the trails close and it's cold, I go back into the gym sometimes.
Okay. Sometimes.
I run
run sometimes. So.
treadmill running's rough.
But I've listened to albums for a really long time. I think in college was when I got introduced to listening to an entire album and understanding the flow of what it does and why things are placed where they are. And
But not record. Do you have a record player?
I
Do you listen to records?
I don't.
I
would
if
could.
My oldest daughter, Layla, listens to records. She's so cool. So.
Cheers.
Yeah.
And then napkins.
Okay.
Yep.
CDs, DVDs, napkins.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Like the book, or did you toss that? Do you have?
Might have been put somewhere else.
Ooh, that's a first.
But like, why would you? I guess I've always thought like maybe
That's how lame this segment is. Like, ooh,
here's where my thoughts going right now. My thought process is going. If it is in there, one of the first things I'm going to do is move it because I never need it. I'm never like driving down the road and like, oh, grab me the book. It's normally like, let's park and get the book out and figure out what's wrong. Like I can put it in the trunk by the tools, which I'm going to need to get out.
Yeah.
Like
that's a good word.
I don't need it quickly accessible.
Now you've made it 42 minutes into this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah,
listener.
some life
Enough,
advice.
some
I'm
more.
going to go do that today and
Yeah.
switch around. I'm always like digging around.
Make
for
some
stuff.
space in that thing.
Yeah.
Mine like explodes with all the napkins and packets of Cholula.
Oh, Culver's free tokens that
Scoopies.
were not the Scoobies, but the tokens to get
Okay.
a free kids meal that we're storing up. Can
Do you
often be
use
in
the
there.
Scoopies right away?
I mean,
I have
I
like
remember
a
last time I was here.
stack of them.
We usually use it
I don't like
same
ice
day.
cream.
Yeah, he doesn't like ice cream.
Yeah, that's right.
So my kids use it.
We'll go through a drive-through or eat in,
Yeah.
and then leave, and then on the way back from wherever we're going, we'll go and get Culver's
Oh, wow.
through it. So
Same day.
yeah, usually same day,
Okay.
but like hours.
Depends on
later.
the flavor
So,
of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're okay.
I know, I'm so lame. My kids don't think I'm lame, I think, but
Yeah, they will eventually. Just wait till they turn 14.
Yeah,
Yep,
about that age.
Teenage.
they'll have to.
When you're talking about forgiveness, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got something I could ask for forgiveness tonight. I should not wait till Friday.
And so
Oh,
does
yeah,
my
yeah.
daughter.
Nope. That was pretty much me being sassy. So It's his time.
That's such a good practice. I feel like that's
Mm-hmm.
been one of the most humbling,
Mm-hmm.
good practices that I've had as a parent. That is one of the few that I feel like I've done good at.
Mm-hmm.
Is not being perfect, but is quickly closing the loop and apologizing.
But Friday forgiveness.
Yeah.
I feel like there's
But I think even the rhythm of Friday forgiveness now puts forgiveness on your radar. And so maybe you're quicker to even say it in the moment or within the hour or within the 12 hours of the offense happening is so good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of takeaways for this podcast.
Yeah.
This is loaded. This has been a loaded episode.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And convicting, it's good for me to like walk from here and live more into these things.
Mm-hmm.
hey, thanks for being on, Justin.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Thanks for having me.
yep. All right. Hey, listeners, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.